Coming up, a couple turns to God to heal their broken marriage, and see how another couple weathered the storm of two affairs. Welcome to the 700 Club Canada. I hope you're having an amazing start to your week. And this week I'm really excited because I'm joined by my beautiful wife,
Thank you.
Carlene, and we're gonna kind of lean into relationships this year. This week, I mean, we should lean into relationships all the time, but this week specifically. So I have a opening question for you. When you think about relationships, what do you think makes a good relationship or a strong relationship?
Well, number one, I think that a strong relationship is made up of two people who are committed to see the best in each other. And I also think it's really powerful when they are going the same direction.
I love that. And thank you for seeing the best in me. That truly is powerful. And I think that is good. It's seeing people the way Jesus sees them, because Jesus is the standard of love. At the end of the day, a great relationship is anchored in God's love first. And so we hope that you're experiencing that today in your life and in your relationships. Well, up first, when infidelity threatened to destroy their marriage, Rick and Tiffany found a way to rebuild it. Watch this.
I knew that our marriage was bad.
Whenever Tiffany would bring up that our marriage is not right, it's horrible,
He would say, "You're just overreacting."
and I just chalked it up to her being dramatic.
For 17 years, Tiffany Bowman pleaded with her ambitious husband, Rick, to help around the house, spend time with their 4 kids, and with her. Nothing changed, and the couple fought all the time.
I felt completely unimportant, like he had a list of priorities and I was at the absolute bottom.
Rick says that's because he had a mistress, his work. Whether it was managing a sales team or serving as a part-time youth pastor, he spent long hours away from home.
I hate to say it, but I love my kids and I love my wife, but I loved my work more. There was a level of fulfillment and adoration I received from the success of my job.
I hated his computer and I hated his cell phone. If the phone rang or a text went off, it didn't matter if we were talking, he just stopped and picked up his phone.
In 2009, Rick reached his lifetime goal when he became a senior pastor at a church in Bellingham, Washington. That took even more of Rick's time from his family.
Being a pastor is 24/7. I mean, you have to allow room for that and time for that, and so I would justify it.
I just gave up. I just thought that it was always gonna be terrible, that I was always gonna be lonely, that I was always going to do everything.
Meanwhile, a friend of theirs, a married man, stepped in to fill the gap.
He would take the boys out and play catch with them in the yard. He would take them out for ice cream. He would mow the lawn. So the fact that he was doing all that stuff, I just felt like he cares about me.
Before Tiffany knew it, they were having an affair.
I knew it was wrong, but I was so unhappy.
Because he lived 2 hours away, they only saw each other on occasion. Still, they talked and texted often. The affair tormented Tiffany. Making it worse, she was a worship leader at church.
I was living such a double life that at night I would have a glass of wine. 1 glass turned into 2 glasses and turned into 3 glasses, and I was completely numbing out in the evening. I was in such disbelief at what I was doing, and yet I didn't stop.
The on-again, off-again affair lasted 3 years until finally, overwhelmed by guilt, Tiffany texted the man that it was over. Soon after, Rick got a phone call. It was the man's wife and Tiffany's best friend who had seen Tiffany's text.
That was when my world just shattered. I had never felt such betrayal. I just looked at her and I was like, What are you thinking? But I remember she looked at me and she said, well, now maybe you'll pay attention to me more.
That night, Rick left to stay at a friend's house. Neither he nor Tiffany could see a way out.
I just said, this is so big, I don't even think God can fix this.
I didn't think that Rick would forgive me. Everything was just, my head was spinning. You know, what are we gonna do? How is he gonna leave me? Is he gonna take the kids? How could God forgive me for doing this? Like the most horrible thing. How could he forgive me? If you can fix this, Lord, please, please help us. Please forgive me. Please help. And that was all I could say that night.
Praying into the night, Rick realized the part he had played in their broken marriage.
I betrayed my wife just in a different way. My affair was with my work.
He says God also told him he could fix their marriage on one condition.
The Holy Spirit spoke to me and he said, I can when I have willing hearts.
Later the next day, Rick went home.
And he told me that he loved me. And he told me that he forgave me. I couldn't comprehend why he would forgive me or why he would still love me.
While it took a lot of time, counseling, and tears for the couple to work out their differences, it was forgiveness through God's love that ultimately healed their hearts and their marriage.
When the Lord said, you provide the heart, I'll provide the miracle, he wasn't just talking about the restoration of my marriage. He was also talking about the renewing of my mind, the renewing of my heart. Our encouragement to everybody is that, there is hope. There is absolute hope, especially when you have two people with willing hearts to just say, Lord, make this happen, I'll do whatever.
I know how present and how miraculous and just what a good God he is, that he would come in and that he would save my family, that he would save my marriage.
Well, you know, Carlene, in that story, Rick and Tiffany had to learn about forgiveness. And you and I have had to learn a lot about that as well. As a matter of fact, I don't think any relationship survives without the ability to forgive. So, yeah, what are some of your thoughts about that?
Honestly, I think it's such a beautiful picture of the reminder that when you are in relationship with somebody, you need to just get really good at both extending and receiving grace. And otherwise, those little things, those everyday little things can build up to like Mount Vesuvius style stuff, right? And if we're not sharing that aspect of it, we miss out on a huge component.
Now, I think a big problem for a lot of people is when they think of forgiveness, they think it just means you just turn a blind eye. And that's not true at all, is it?
Not at all, not at all. Actually, one thing that really helps me is realizing that when you forgive somebody, it's not like you're admitting that everything they did was necessarily right. But you're choosing to cut the cord from being attached to that thing that is a weight around your heart. And maybe theirs too. Well,
you also said something really interesting. You said you have to extend grace, which is the forgiveness part. I forgive you even though you've hurt me. But what does it mean to receive it? Like, that's hard for people too.
Well, I think sometimes we think when we receive forgiveness, we have to feel perfect first. And we don't just wake up one day and realize we're perfect. It's a work in progress. It's like one step at a time and being gracious with yourself at the same time.
Yeah, you know what's really helped me is really believing that Jesus has forgiven me. Yeah. And you can't express what you haven't experienced. And so maybe you're wrestling in a situation and you're having a hard time forgiving. I want to encourage you to let Jesus forgive you first and then give you the power to help forgive those who've hurt you. I want to encourage you to call us. If you need prayer today, call us at 1-855-759-0700. We are here for you, and forgiveness is the key, and it's available to you. Well, after the break, God saved both Brian and Alicia's lives, but could he save their marriage? We'll be back to hear their miraculous story.
Your will and the next generation. Creating a will can teach the next generation. what it means to return to others what has been given to you. A well-crafted will can leave a lasting and meaningful legacy for generations to come. You can give your loved ones more than just money. You can provide them with the opportunity to learn valuable lessons like generosity, family responsibility, good stewardship, and wise tax planning. Advisors with Purpose can take you step by step through the will planning process in order to fulfill your dreams, your wishes, and your legacy. 700 Club Canada has partnered with Advisors with Purpose to offer you this free service. Contact us to get started at plan@advisorswithpurpose.ca.
Brian and Alicia have been married for more than 20 years. They met as teenagers and fell in love fast after their paths crossed at a grocery store.
He jokingly says I was stalking him. But he was in the grocery, stalking, and me and my mother, my sisters, we saw him. We thought he was just super cute.
I knew the first time I seen her that she was definitely the one.
We dated about 6 months, and then 9 months after that, we were married on April 12th, 1997.
They spent the first couple years getting to know each other better, but eventually their time together lessened and tension was building between them.
I had just started nursing school, so I was gone all day. And, Brian worked second shifts. And then when we would connect on the weekends, it was arguing about, I think it was a lack of intimacy, the lack of time together.
We both wanted what we wanted, and we wasn't willing to give, and I think that's where things really start spiraling downward.
Meanwhile, their family was growing, but their arguments escalated and would often lead to Brian leaving home for weeks, even months at a time. Brian became a successful contractor and prided himself in being a provider, but he filled a void he felt with familiar vices. He found the attention he was looking for in other women.
Deep down, I knew what was going on, but I was still trying to be a somewhat good husband, if that makes sense, and provide and keep things at home intact. I was hiding the alcohol in my truck, hiding my phone in my truck in the evenings, in case somebody would call or reach out to me so she would know, and then hiding. I'd go home at night, take showers, get out of the shower, but still felt dirty. I knew right and wrong. I just couldn't get free from the things of the world, no matter how hard I tried.
Several years had passed, and Alicia had given birth to their second child when Brian's secrets came to light.
I remember waking up one morning at 6 a.m. to the phone ringing. At that moment, my world shattered. Never in my mind would have ever thought that my husband would be cheating on me.
Alicia forgave him and agreed to work on their relationship. But later, when the infidelities continued, Alicia finally reached her breaking point and filed for divorce. Feeling rejected and hopeless, she attempted suicide.
After the fourth affair, I had given up all hope. I had filed for divorce. I had been on an antidepressant for about 3 years, and I decided that I was going to overdose on those pills. And so when Brian came to get the kids one day, I'd asked him if he would pick up my prescription. It was a full 3 months. And so when he brought them back, took the children and left, I was going to take them all. And when I opened the bottle, there was only 3 pills inside. And so when I contacted Brian to find out where the rest of them was, there should have been hundreds, he said that the pharmacy they couldn't account for them. They were just gone. At my lowest moment was when God stepped in and saved my life. When I asked God, what to do about Brian, and so lovingly, he just asked me, would you give him one more chance?
As Alicia began to let God heal her heart, Brian was facing the man he had become.
I had tried to commit suicide myself down at my grandfather's farm. I had, taken a gun and put it underneath my chin and pulled the trigger, and of course it didn't go off. I remember God telling me this is your last chance, and knew that I had to change as a dad and a husband. And that was a big turning point for me.
Broken and desperate, he surrendered his heart to God. Brian moved back into their home. Together, they participated in couples counseling and committed to keeping God first in their marriage while they rebuilt their communication and trust.
Got rid of my worldly friends. I'd made a promise to myself that I would never get in a truck and leave like I had so many times in the past. I would go outside and sit and just pray. It brought me to a really strong relationship with him, which in turn turned into a strong relationship with Alicia and the kids.
When we incorporated God back in, when we invited him back in, when we repented for removing him, he just started to rebuild our marriage and our love for one another.
Brian and Alicia say their love for each other is stronger than ever. And it's all because they learned to love each other as Christ loves them.
Where it is today, it's almost like trying to imagine heaven. As much as we can imagine, as good as it'd be, we'll still be blown away on the day we get there. And I feel the same way with our marriage. Today, what it is, we're best friends. We love spending time with each other. And I couldn't imagine waking up a day without her by my side or ending a day without her by my side.
Carr, these are such great stories because they're such great reminders to me about how our relationship has been able to work and withstand some of the storms. And what I'm taking away from this today is really, you have to stay connected to God because God is the source of love, but you really have to work, and it is work, right? You have to work at staying connected to each other. So what are some of the ways that you and I have learned to navigate that, staying connected to God and to each other?
So staying connected to each other in this context is just really, really powerful because you take the intentionality every single day in the moments that you have together.
That's good.
And, in this busy world, we have to actually think about it and be intentional about what we're doing. And so, for example, listening to hear what you have to say, keeping those lines of communication open, being curious about the other person, wanting to know how they're actually doing, and then staying around to listen, keeping that open.
Yeah, I think that's really good because in that, you're trying to understand another person's position and perspective. And that's how I get connected to you. When I'm always trying to get my way, trying to get my opinion or thought across, we're not connected. That's just one way. Connection is actually, I understand where we're at, and let's meet in that beautiful place of connection. And what about connected to God? How do you stay connected to God in your life?
Yeah, so with staying connected to God in my life, I love to just talk to him throughout the day, listen to him. I also really resonate with podcasts that are biblically based as well, and I keep that going even while I'm doing things around the house. If I'm home working on something, I can play that, and it's just like a constant reminder of the truth that God is actually there for us.
And maybe you feel disconnected. We would love to pray with you. Maybe you feel disconnected from God or your relationship. Why not give us a call right now at 1-855-759-0700. We would love to pray with you a prayer of connection today.
Hello, my name is Michelle, and I'm a prayer partner with 700 Club Canada. We have an amazing team waiting to pray with you, and we're available every day. We want to make it easy for you to connect with us. All you have to do is pick up your phone and call us at our toll-free number, 1-855-759-0700. And don't forget to let us know how God answered your prayers. We want to celebrate in your victories too. Our number again is 1-855-759-0700. We look forward to connecting with you today.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Harrison Mongol. I'm a psychotherapist, psychoeducator, actually a marriage counselor. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about I Have a Dream. If you probably don't know a lot about me, but I've been married for about 27 years this year, and we have 7 kids, and I really enjoy marriage. And the reason I want to talk to you about I Have a Dream, I think it's important that you who are watching today understand that every marriage should have a dream. I am sure when you got married, or even before you got married, you had a dream. And when you got married, it seemed like the dream kind of got put on the side, or the dream was probably forgotten or put on a shelf. But I believe that when we were born, God installed this dream in our hearts, every one of us. Like my wife and I, we have dreams, and we keep revisiting the dreams, because sometimes the dreams may not happen at that particular moment. You know, interestingly, the scripture in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. The plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plan to give you a future and a hope." So God's plan is that every one of us, like including your spouse, that there is a dream, and sometimes we end up fulfilling just one dream. Like in the past, my wife will be tagging along, fulfilling my dream. She wants me, like I wanted to go to school, so she would support me to go to school, or I wanted to travel around the globe and she wanted to support me, or I wanted to do different things, and she was always there 100% for me. And one day I sat down and we were having dinner, and I said to her, "What about your dreams? You know, what can I do to enhance your dreams? Because it seemed like we're just working towards my dreams." And sometimes in relationship, I call that codependency, when we become so dependent on each other that we're fulfilling one person's dream rather than working to accomplish each other's dream. We can only feel fulfilled in our lives when we are stepping in the right pathway that God has designed for our future, and those dreams are being fulfilled. Like when you were a kid, maybe you had dreams of traveling, or you had hobbies, or you had so many things that were inside of you, and then it becomes stagnant, or you feel like it can never happen. Well, I want to encourage you that you need to understand that dreams are things that God put in your heart to become a reality. You know, Martin Luther says, "I have a dream." And that dream was that one day all men will be equal. And look what we see today, men are equal. God have a dream that you and your spouse will work together in collaboration to bring forth a healthy relation, a healthy marriage for your children, that they will be able to see the blueprint as to what marriage is all about. So a couple tips I want to leave with you. Number one is you need to unlock those dreams inside of you, because they're hidden inside of you. They're like gems that are just hidden inside of you, waiting to be explored by yourself. Unlock those dreams and work together with your spouse to bring those dreams into reality, because I'll tell you, nobody in the world is going to make it happen for you. Number two, I want you to think about one dream is built upon another. And I think that's the uniqueness about God. When He puts two people together, those dreams can work together like building blocks to be able to strengthen one another, that each person feels fulfilled in a relationship. I tell you, without my wife, I don't know where I would be today, because she's the person who has encouraged me to keep moving ahead, and vice versa, helping her to keep climbing up into her dreams and fulfilling the dreams that are deposited in her heart. And I think when we start fulfilling those dreams, we start feeling content in our hearts, because we know that we are in the right plan of God. And thirdly, we need to believe in the dreams. Believe that the dream is possible. Like I'll tell you, I never thought I would be standing in front of you in a camera talking to you today about marriages. It was a dream, and those dreams became a reality. So as I encourage you today, I want you to consider those dreams. Don't put them away. Develop them, utilize them, and bring them to success. God bless you, and thank you so much for watching today.
We've been talking a lot about relationships today, and of course, the most important relationship, the one you have to get right first, is your relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ. And we at the 700 Club Canada are committed to that message, but we can't tell it without your help and partnership, our relationship together. So I'd love for you to become a 700 Club monthly partner this year. And if you call right now, we'll send you this great gift entitled How to Believe for Healing. It's going to encourage you greatly. You'll also receive our monthly newsletter entitled Frontlines. So why not call our number at 1-855-759-0700 and partner with us today.
A routine doctor's appointment would end up in devastating news.
Cancer is one thing, but triple negative, which is one of the worst cases of cancers there is.
You know, the shocking part for me was just hearing the word cancer.
The Savior is the healer.
man is not.
Discover the power of prayer in CBN's newest teaching.
We're going to give you some principles to hold on to. All things are possible to them who believe.
Get the How to Believe for Healing collection, including an exclusive video with Ashley Key and Gordon Robertson, a personal workbook, plus a special teaching by Gordon.
If a patient doesn't have any hope, then they won't live for anything. Prayer changes things, that's the truth.
Get the How to Believe for Healing collection. Available now.
Today, we have been talking a lot about relationships. And I just know that there are many watching who are maybe struggling first in their relationship with God. Maybe they feel disconnected. And the truth is, I am convinced, and the Bible reinforces this, that without God's love, it's impossible to really know what love is. And maybe they're struggling in their relationship with another person. Maybe it's a marriage partner, maybe it's a sibling, a child. We want to pray with you. And thank you for those of you who send in your prayer requests. We take that very seriously. You need to know every prayer request that comes in is prayed for. And so, Susan, you said, please pray for me and my husband that we would be in agreement about different important things. Yeah, that's a common issue. And Ruby said, please pray for our son and his family. He recently rededicated his life to God, but his wife doesn't seem very supportive of him in this new walk. And so, Carlene, would you pray for those who just need to be connected to God? If you're watching and you need that, pray with Carlene, and for those maybe struggling in relationships as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Father, I thank you so much that you're with us here right now, watching and with us in these moments.
Yes.
And I just pray for Susan and Ruby specifically right now, that you would reach them exactly where they're at and give them all the wisdom that they need to be able to grow closer to you and to their relationships in need. And I pray for everyone watching that you would touch them and heal them in every aspect of their relationship so they can first draw closer to you and then to their relationship partner as well, God. Thank you that you're with us in every moment. Amen.
I do want to remind you that if you do need prayer today, do not hesitate to call us at 1-855-759-0700. And the greatest prayer you can pray today is to be reconnected to Jesus. We'd love to pray that with you. Well, our power verse today, Car, is found in 1 John 3:18, where it says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." I love that, right? Because actions speak louder than words. So what's one thought, really quickly, that you're taking away from today's show?
Just take one truth out of this, out of everything we've talked about. Just take one truth and start with one step. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start small.
I like that. One step towards Jesus and towards what it means to really love one another. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.
On the next 700 Club Canada, a man becomes a walking, talking miracle after doctors gave him little chance of survival.